The moon hung low in the sky, a pale and haunting orb, illuminating the abandoned town with an eerie glow. Each night, it seemed to awaken something in the shadows, stirring memories long buried but never truly gone. On the fringes, a dilapidated house stood silent, its windows like hollow eyes, gazing into the depths of a living nightmare. Sally had always been drawn to this place. As a child, the stories whispered in hushed tones told of strange happenings, of children who wandered too far and returned forever changed. Now, as a young adult, with a heart burdened by unresolved traumas, she felt compelled to explore the source of that dark energy. With every creak of the floorboards beneath her feet, her pulse quickened. The house had a heartbeat of its own, a rhythmic thrum that matched her rising anxiety. Each step deeper into its decaying belly felt like a descent into madness. She could almost hear the whispers of the past echoing faintly. "Sally, come play," they beckoned, laced with the seductive promise of forgotten joy and buried secrets. A flash of movement caught her eye. Turning, she glimpsed a shadow darting just out of reach, fading into the gloom. "Hello?" she called, her voice a fragile thread in the oppressive silence. No answer came, but the air grew thick with tension, as if the house itself was holding its breath, waiting for the next chapter to unfold. With determination, she pressed onward, the walls closing in around her like a vice. Memories clawed at her mind, the faces of her friends, distorted and trapped in their final moments. Larry's laughter, Todd's gentle spirit, Ash's fierce resolve, each one a ghost whispering warnings into her ear. The memories morphed, twisted, recalling the last time they spoke of the moon, its power to bind them together even as darkness crept between them. As Sally reached the door at the end of the hall, a chill settled over her. The faded paint flaked beneath her fingers as she pushed it open, revealing a room drenched in a peculiar luminescence. The air was tense, thick with an electric anticipation. In the center stood a mirror, its surface rippling like the surface of a disturbed pond under the moonlight. Sally stared, entranced. Reflected in the glass was not just her image, but the faces of those long gone, their eyes wide with terror. "Join us," they whispered, both a plea and a command. It was then she caught her reflection fading, the space swirling as the room itself seemed to breathe, welcoming her into its depths. Panicking, she turned to flee, but the door slammed shut, trapping her within this otherworldly embrace. The whispers grew louder, transforming into cacophonous roars. "You cannot leave," they chanted. "The moon has awoken. It demands a sacrifice." Every light in the room flickered violently, shadows warping into grotesque forms, snaking through the air towards her. The realization crashed over her like a wave. They were not just her friends. They were remnants of something far worse, dark entities yearning to reclaim their power through her. As she pressed against the door, desperation surged within her, causing her to scream for help. But her cries were swallowed by the madness that thrummed in time with the moon's pulse. Gritting her teeth, she reached for the mirror, her fingers grazing the cold surface, and for an instant she felt a warm hand clasp hers, the fleeting comfort of a friend, followed by the suffocating embrace of darkness. In her final moments, a sliver of clarity pierced through the chaos. The house was alive, a conduit for the moon's malevolence. The cycle would continue, drawing in souls like hers. And then, in an instant, everything went black. The moon hung high above, indifferent and cold, as the house reclaimed its silence. From the depths of the shadows, laughter echoed, and the cycle began anew, whispering, "Sally has joined us." Upon the edge of darkness, the moon continued to wake, ensuring that it would never again know true sleep. As dawn broke, light spilled across the town like spilled ink, touching the creaking derelict structures with a soft glow. The whispers receded into the walls, the haunting atmosphere thickening until it congealed into the remnants of an unsettling calm. But in the house, where Sally had vanished, the air remained stagnant. A lone moth fluttered through the broken window, drawn to a flickering candle on the floor, a symbol of a futile hope, its light a faint heartbeat against the encroaching shadow. The moth danced in circles, unaware of the eyes now watching it. Within the mirror, Sally's reflection smiled, her once terrified visage now adorned with a distorted serenity. She was part of them, yet still separate, entwined in the darkness. The moth brushed against the glass, and for a fleeting moment, there was clarity. "Welcome," her voice chimed, dulcet and inviting. The other souls, trapped for eternity, echoed her sentiment with glee, each one relishing in the fresh energy now coursing through their liminal prison. They turned to the restless moth, their laughter weaving through the air like tendrils of fog, reaching for the innocent creature whose fate now hung in the balance. Outside, the town stirred slowly from its slumber, with no knowledge of the grim fate that had befallen one of their own. Children played in the yards, mothers called out for breakfast, the everyday warmth of life seeming eternal. Yet shadows lingered longer than they should, curling around the foundations of houses as if they were reaching for something just out of grasp. The mirror reflected the tableau, distorting it into something grotesque. In its depths, Sally watched from behind the veil, with cool detachment wrapping around her heart. The cycle of darkness craved renewal. It was no longer merely a bypassing moment, but rather a festering wound, ever present, aching for flesh to embrace. "Soon," she whispered to herself, her voice a mere echo in this realm of forgotten fondness and fleeting terror. "The moon will rise again, and they will follow." Tension shivered beneath the surface, vibrating with anticipation. The town's clock tower chimed the hour, sending a single tolling note cascading through the air. With that sound, the darkness shifted, pooling around the mirror like hungry fog. The candle flickered violently. It seemed to recognize an eerie symmetry in the rhythm of the town and the heartbeat of the house. Sally's spirit pressed forward, drawn toward the glass, the weight of her former life washing over her. She could see herself in the reflections of others that had come before, lost souls tethered to moments forever replaying, haunted by their own choices. In those final throes of control, she grasped onto a fragment of her remaining humanity, a plea threading through her grasping hands. "Remember me?" She carried through the layers, hoping against hope that anyone still tied to her past could reach out. But the shadows laughed, and darkness cloaked her, dimming that last flicker of the girl who once stood at the edge of innocence. A heavy wind carried that distant echo to the ears of an unsuspecting child playing by an old oak tree. Nestled within the harmless sprinkle of laughter and innocence. The air rippled, charged with memories that lingered long after their owners departed. Later, as night draped its velvet cloak across the town, the moon rose pale and insatiable. Once more, the shadows stretched and twisted, writhing like restless spirits through the streets. The delicate flicker of candles in homes was extinguished, one by one, as doors swung open wide, pulled by unseen hands. The townsfolk felt a strange pull, an invitation whispering sweet promises of laughter and endless nights. Sally's laughter mixed with that of new children, echoing, mingling, until there was no distinction between the two. Just the welcoming arms of the darkness, ready to weave another fallen soul into its web. And there, at the edge of the house where she had spent her last moments, the mirror stood waiting, inviting, an open door into the depths of despair. The voices sang once more, a symphony of seduction. "Come play, join us." The moon, watchful and full, drank deep of the town's soul, ensuring the brutal cycle would awaken again, transforming life into a haunting reminder of the price one pays when shadows dance too close. And thus, the house would stand, a beacon for the lost, forever ensnared by a moon that never knew true sleep. And so it continued. Sally whispered softly, already fading into the night. Each sacrifice only fed the hunger of the cold, indifferent moon, a cycle that spun on eternally, dimming the hope of dawn, cloaking the town in an everlasting twilight of dread.